GOP rep says her white daddy was a white slave. Yeah, put her up full mask. Who is she talking to? The NAACP. Let's get into it. GOP state rep Jennifer Decker, who's seeking to ban diversity programs in Kentucky schools, told a mostly Black audience that her father has been a slave. She went before the Shelbyville area NAACP a week and a half ago and made the startling claim during a Q&A session when somebody posed if her family had played a role in the slave trade. That's according to the Courier Journal. Here's what she said, quote, let's keep a picture up because you got to imagine it coming from her. Keep a picture up. My father was born on a dirt farm in Lincoln County. His mother was the illegitimate daughter of a very prominent person who then was kind enough to allow them to work for him as slaves. So if you're asking, did we own slaves? My father was a slave. Just, that's how she said it. Just to a white man, and he was a white. Decker's father was a white preacher born sometime around 1933, which was 68 years after the 13th Amendment ended slavery. Columnist Joseph Girth asked Decker to clarify her comments on slavery, but she kept repeating the word irrelevant, which Girth said only confused him more. So he asked whether slavery was irrelevant. Well, it's not irrelevant, Decker said. No, it's not irrelevant what slavery is, but it's shifting the focus from what we're talking about. Girth again asked her to clarify what she meant by claiming her white father had been a slave in the middle of the 20th century. And he said her answer seemed to indicate his family had actually been tenant farmers. Well, my father was born into poverty, she said. There was a very influential man who allowed them property and then they worked on it. Yeah, that's a barter system. They used to do that quite often back then, all right? Decker said her father's family had not been paid for their labor. And she admitted when pressed that she probably overstated a claim. Was I saying that it was kidnapping and abuse, the same as a slave? No, Decker said. He was a child, his family all worked there. Girth admitted he was left unsatisfied with the lawmaker's explanation. So Decker's father was forced by his parents to do chores. And that was what made him a slave, Girth wrote. I suppose any of us who washed dishes, cut grass, or took out the garbage were slaves, according to Decker's definition. And you know what's happening here. This is an individual trying to dismiss the reality of what actually happened historically during the slavery era of American history. And so she equivocates. Oh, a slavery. I mean, my dad was a slave. What's the big deal? Everybody was a slave. And then somebody pressed her on that ridiculous notion. And she ends up walking it back and saying she overstated. Wosny is getting out of control. We go from slavery did not exist to America is not a racist country to America never has been a racist country to actually white people were the slaves in America.
It's quite absurd. And I think there's a more artful way for white people to do this. For instance, if you were of an Irish background, you can be like, we were the Negroes of the Brits back in the days in Europe, and they treated us badly. They colonized us. They did all these horrible things to us. They subjugated us, whatever. Or, you could take a different route, Dr. Richey, and be like, no, when I said that, my dad was a sex slave. He was into BDSM. He was like the gimp from Pulp Fiction. He used to frequent those freaky clubs, and we don't kink shame on this show. And she could have clarified, Dr. Richey, that he was a different type of slave. Right. Quite different from chattel slavery here in America and in the antebellum South.
I'm glad you clarified it for her.